Now it's time for the last word with Lawrence O'Donnell. Good evening, Lawrence.
Good evening, Rachel. And we saw three eloquent law professors speaking in favor and support of impeachment in that hearing today. On this hour now, we have three eloquent law professors who I think also will be speaking in support of impeachment. Professor Lawrence Tribe of Harvard Law School. Also, Elizabeth Warren, former law professor, now senator, soon to be possible juror in the impeachment trial, candidate for president of the United States. And former law professor Jamie Raskin, one of the members of the committee today who was asking questions in the hearing, with whom, by the way, I think I have a disagreement, perhaps a minor disagreement, about what this possibly means in the future. But it's law professor day in the hearing, law professor night here at the
With that kind of legal firepower arrayed on your show, I might take it easy in terms of picking fights. I'm just saying.
Now, Rachel, to the unsung hero, I mean hero, of this hearing today. That was, of course, Madeline Strasser. Madeline Strasser did not ask any questions. There's a shot of her. That's her long hair hanging down on the side beside Congressman Swalwell right now. She is the clerk, Rachel, who called the roll call votes faster than anyone has ever called roll call votes in the House of Representatives. 40 members of that committee. She did it at an incredible speed. She did the math of adding up those votes faster than I've ever seen anyone do it. She's a junior member of the staff. She's a 2017 graduate of Penn State. She's been with the committee just this year. Madeline Strasser, I have never seen anything like it.
Saving the country from dilatory tactics in terms of slowing things down with those roll call votes. Well put. I'm glad you sussed that out.
Let me share a personal secret about this. I don't want you to tell anyone. When I took over the top job at the Senate Finance Committee, staff director job, the tradition then, 1993, was that the staff director, the top staff member, of course, calls the roll publicly on C-SPAN in the hearing and does the math of adding up the votes and announcing the vote.
Can I find clips of you doing that? Please tell me that's where this ends.
I was terrified to do that. So I handed the roll to Rob Connor, who was our junior staff member at the time. He was basically our Madeline Strasser. I gave it to the kind of lowest ranking staff member in the committee to do it. And I may have ended up creating a bit of a trend of the top guy ducking that job and handing it to the junior staff, Madeline Strasser.
But in order to grok this story properly, what we have to all get our heads around is the fact that you were like, yeah, I definitely don't want to be on TV.
Well, no, it was, I didn't want to
avoid that.
Rachel, I was afraid of doing math live on TV.
That's actually both smart and fair.
Yes. But yeah, I was a little bit more modest in those days. Yeah.
Well, you've grown into it well, my friend.
Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on the button below for more from The Last Word and the rest of MSNBC.